Well, hello there, everybody. How are you doing on this hump day? So good to see everyone. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of this fabulous, well, journey. That's the only thing I know what to say. So thank you all. Thank you to everyone participating in the chat room. How are y'all doing? Loretta, Nina, how are you doing? Susie Koo, Nina, yeah, it's a good book. It is. You ought to check her out. We'll try to get the author on. Got your email, Nina. I think it would be probably a good show. Particularly after we go through this material. I always like to go through the material ahead of time. You know, if you get the author on, then you really have a foundation in which to converse. And wow, this is going to be a good one. So, welcome again, everybody. Favor be upon us all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Um, I want to give a shout out to Jackie J. Uh, Jackie, this is just beautiful. She sent this. Is this not? I tell you, we've got the most. I mean, that's just, darling, that's just, thank you. I mean, wow. I mean, wow. I mean, yeah, that'll go on the honor wall. Yeah, probably right behind me. So thank you, Jackie. Appreciate it, darling. And beautiful, beautiful family. And wow. It's just remarkable the people that have found their way here because I have no idea how that happened. But I'll take complete responsibility because no one else around in our government seems to. Susie Q, what's up, darling? Loretta, hello. Jargo, Bonnie, Lori, Mary Wins, much love to you, darling. Xander, good to see you. Yeah, it is. So, and also, y'all know her as Street Mom. Got some powerful, powerful people here. That's a truly the favor of the universe rest upon my soul and my spirit because definitely manifests itself all the time with such beautiful people as yourselves. So thank you. As I wrote in the comment section, let your music, your song of your heart be sung because someone needs to hear that. Go, all the way from Croatia. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Good to see you, Lynn. Hello. Lost in Space, what's up? Goddess Sabina, good to see you. And Robert V, what's up to you? How are you, brother? Is it cold up there yet? Uh, really, yeah. John Price, Planet X years ago. Oh, yeah, that's going back. Lauren, Ginger Grin, how are you, my dear, down in New Zealand? Happy summertime. It's, it's sometime wintertime. Hope it's doing well for you, dear. Claudette, good to see you as well. So, um, I think there's going to be like this major event in about 10 days. We'll see if my spidey senses are wrong, but something is amiss. So, Mark Smith, how are you, brother? I know it's warm down where you are, for sure. Absolutely. Shirley, good to see you. Isn't that the truth? Thank you for all the warm healing wishes for Lynn. We're both getting over it, but she she got the worst of it. So yeah, but we're strong, vibrant, alive. So anyway, so toasty. Mark, so in centigrade, Fahrenheit, excuse me, how toasty is it? Flight risk, good to see they let you out. Night vision, good to see you as well. Rick, what's up? Yes, then the winter breezes. And it is cold, but I love it. I do. So, Nina, this is a good book. I was up late last night, well into it. And I tell you, we're going to get right into it because just give you some of the highlights, what we're going to find out. The um androgynous species. We all are. And it's amazing, because, yeah, I studied the Bible seriously for over 40 years. This shit was right there in front of you. You never see it. So we're going to get into how this whole thing, I don't know how you feel about transgenderism, but it's a part of a process we're going to see. And because it's one that in society is heavily debated, I think very much misunderstood. And with humans, they always screw it up. We're going to find out about Satan. You know, not all humans are humans. Um, Satan, as is God, is androgynous. We're going to find about Cain. It gets really into this thing. You're going to love it. So, uh, Nina, will as we get further into this, and y'all are really going to, I don't have a PDF copy of the book, but it is available on Amazon. I left that there. Well worth it. Get on your Kindle and what have you. But this is really good because the essences of this is that the reason why our species can't seem to get our act together, we never get our poop in the group. Um, it's always scattered. You know, we don't have our poop together at all. And no matter how hard we try, no matter how far we think we advance, no matter how far we think we achieve in spirituality, we always miss the mark. Hey, S. Lee, thank you. Gaia, how are you? Good to see you, Paul Joe, as I'm looking over there, Emperor Rex. And for a species, it's frustrating. And if you study this, and then we do, we look at it from an esoteric point of view, a philosophical point of view, a scientific point of view. But in the end, something's wrong with us. We can't remember our beginnings, which is weird. We have a lot of theories, but that's all they are. And much to what religion tries to help do is fill in the gaps. So when I did the Liber Lilith, Lilith, in her words, she told us that we are androgynous. Every one of us have another part of us that has been separated. And that brings on problems. Brings on a problem because you have basically a species that has been divided, which was never meant to be divided. And as a result of that, the two halves have a very difficult time in communicating, which would be a problem because there was a time originally where they didn't have the separation. So, taking that, Divine Empress, how are you doing? Let's get into, I think one of the more interesting, again, get the book. We're going to go through this because it's a fascinating, I I like the take because I've seen many different fractals to the story. And this one is nice because it ties in a lot of the sundry, the Apocrypha, um, and other books, many of which I have in my library. So here we go. I hope you enjoy this. I'll see you when we get finished with the reading. So this is on Kindle. This is where I have it. Beware the World to Come. Christopher Jon, is that Bjerknes? Is that right? I would think, Nina. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Love this guy. It's very interesting when you This group has gone through the Liber Lilith. I mean, we went through that page by page, and it matches. It really does. Lilith said that there is a representative of us in the highest of all dimensions, the androgyne, the atom, who is both male and female. And that's interesting. So get ready. You're going to love this. There's a lot of strange talks these days about genders. For everyone over 50, gender confusion appears to be something new. In the old days, things were simpler. Kids were taught that there are males and females, and that men and women are fundamentally different and easily to distinguish from one another. That's how I was taught. You know, I mean, particularly if you're a baby boomer, you can identify with this very quickly. It says at some point in life, there was a chance you would have learned about hermaphrodites, whose bodies are both male and female characteristics, but in general, most people spoke about boys and girls, men and women, and never entertained the possibility that the sexes might be combined into one androgyne. Not too many people realize that the God of the Bible is actually three gods rolled into one androgyne. The male, God Yahweh, the female, God Shekinah, and the androgynous union of the two in one Godhead, which is often represented as the Son. The situation has dramatically changed. Many individual groups, political movements, religious institutions, professional standards committees, legislators, clergy, teachers, academics, law enforcement officials, journalists, opinion shapers, etc., are arguing over how many genders there are, what form they take, what rights do they or do they not have, and why is it or is it not important that we recognize them all? Where did all of this controversy and confusion come from? Languages include genders in their grammar, articles, and pronouns, often in beautiful and meaningful ways. English has a his and a her. German has a gender or articles such as der for the masculine and da for the feminine, and das for the neuter. In America, pink was long thought to be a female color and blue predominantly male. Gender has literally played a leading role in human culture throughout recorded history. In patriarchal and matriarchal societies are strongly manifested itself in the natural world and in the anthropological discoveries. So why are things suddenly changing now? Good question. I mean, we're about to move full into Aquarius, you know. Apparently, the proverbial, poop is going to hit the fan, so to speak. So, in the midst of all this, we as a species are having to re-examine ourselves as to, well, what is sex? I was a product of the early 70s. Oh, yeah. Anyway, we move on. It is true that throughout history there has been some blurring of the lines between male and female. Homosexuality was rampant in ancient Greece. Males often portrayed females in stage performances. And that's a fact. In the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, women weren't allowed on theater. In Sumer, the Gala priest of the goddess Ishtar confused male and female traits. And then were many androgynous gods. Some of these gods had both male and female faces and sexual organs. They were thought to have created men and women in their divine androgynous image, not as the distinct beings, but as an androgynous beings who were later separated into two sexes, literally cut in half to form man and woman out of one androgyny. Woman, in its base word, means the womb of the man. Yeah. I think the debate, what came first, male or female, is moot at this point. It was neither, it was both. Much to what it says in the book of Genesis, chapter 1. The chromosomes of a male human being provided us with a good analogy for the androgynous gods of the ancient world. They are composed of the male chromosome coupled together with the female chromosome. A male sperm cell joins together with a female egg cell to form a new organism which contains both male and female genetic material. Yeah. Mitochondrial DNA. It's feminine, but yet it's in all of us. Some of these ancient androgynous gods had breasts as well as beards. Things became even more confused when the gods broke apart into male and female aspects, and when they separated the androgynine Adam into Adam and Eve in a divine act of mitosis and meiosis. The Jewish mystical set of beliefs known as the Kabbalah professes that the corruption of the androgynine gods and the androgynous Adam into distinctly male and female forms was a terrible calamity that needs to be rectified through the process the Kabbalists called the Tikkun Olam. This expression means that Jewish people must repair the world. They believe that this is the process of repairing the damage began about 6,000 years ago when Adam was created, then divided into Adam and Eve, and needs to be completed now, or terrible things will happen. Fixing human beings by making them androgynous will also repair the gods and return them to their androgynous state, because what happens on earth affects what happens in heaven. The androgynine agenda is a religious agenda. It is Kabbalistic agenda. Androgyny-based ancient religions hold that not only are male and female one being in the proper order of things, but that the beginning and the end of history are also of one and the same form. This is to say that human beings must and will return back to their original state of androgyny and mirror the gods. Think about it. Makes sense. I think that there is a certain logic to this. It's if you take the creation story that most of us are versed with in the Bible, it talks about two different creations, two different type of beings. In the first 126, it talks about a being that was both male and female. That's what it says. Said that God created both male and female. He created them. And there was no separation. They were together. But yet, in the next chapter, we get this story that now, apparently, there is, you could say that Adam was androgynous. Apparently, he had the ability to self-replicate. No one knows for sure. I wasn't there, but that's what they say. I have no idea how any of this made it down into writing. But we're told that this was the story. And so when I read Christopher's book, it's going, yeah, kind of makes sense. Because God had to put Adam out, right? Because he couldn't find a helpmate with all the animals. That's just some weird stuff. We can really go down on that one, but no. So he puts the dude out and the dudette, and then they do this thing where they separate. I mean, if you start trying to figure out how that is done, that is so far above our ability, way beyond our intellect. I mean, these are powerful beings that they have the ability, the technology. Don't give me this shit. I mean, they just didn't clap their hands and there it was. No, it's always technology. In some form, technology has many different forms and levels of consciousness as well. But they had the ability to take a sentient being that was whole and then divide him. I mean, I was up late just meditating on that, asked that one thing right there. I don't comprehend that. I don't. I can't see the logic of that. I certainly can't see the reasoning for that. What was the purpose? If you take a perfect being and then divide them, how freaking sick is that? But it gets even deeper. It suggests that we, in our original androgynous forms, we had 3 strands of DNA, not 2. That this separation process somehow extracted a strand of DNA that we don't even have access to anymore. Think of the technology, the fact of a being that thinks like this, that has the ability. It would be, for all impression, God. Mm, 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 mm. Woo! Androgyny-based ancient religions hold that not only are male and females one being in the proper order of things, but that the beginning and the end of history are also of one and the same form. This is to say that human beings must and will return back to their original state of androgyny and mirror the gods, who will follow suit and once again become androgynes when the world has been repaired, as above, so below. And this is what this is what Lilith said. Lilith said exactly this. Now, Christopher did his research in the book, but I know from my own study, I've read this before. I know where this came from, at least a form of the thought. And it's very interesting because Christopher does tie Lilith and Samael in this thing. For example, according to Kabbalah, humanity was created about 6,000 years ago in an androgynous form of Adam and must return to that androgynous state in the world to come, Olam Haba. In fact, the Masonic Age, which is about to begin, will not arrive unless and until human beings are converted back into androgynes. I didn't teach me that in no Baptist Sunday school. I can guarantee you're asked this. They didn't mention any of this shit. None of it. Says the Christian Kabbalists Jacob Bohm, William Blake, and Franz von Baader each recognized the androgynous nature of Adam. Baden, an early 19th century Catholic theologian, excuse me, stated that the Trinity is androgynous and that human beings will return to their ideal androgynous state as the world to come approaches. The article for androgyny in the Encyclopedia of Homosexuality states Franz von Baader, 1765, 1841. You know, I think about this as well. People that grew up in that time, they didn't have distractions. I mean, you could get into some deep meditation. They didn't have this electromagnetic soup that we're in. They thought differently than we did. Who interpreted the sacrament of marriage as a symbolic restitution of angelic bisexuality, believed that primordial androgyny would return as the world neared its end. Dun, 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 dun. The Wikipedia article for Franz Xavier von Baader contains the following passage. One of Baader's central ideas is his concept of androgyny. The androgyne is the harmonious fusion of the sexes, resulting in a certain asexuality, a synthesis which creates an entirely new being and which does not merely juxtapose the two sexes in an inflamed opposition as the hermaphrodite does. This is some deep stuff. I mean, for myself, I know how I perceive things, and you know, I perceive it primarily from a lens of maleness, masculine. And it's something because I think every male, and I'm just speaking in for myself, is that when you enter into a relationship, a commitment on that, the greatest desire is for the two to become one. And it's not easy. It just doesn't happen like that. Some, I think, do achieve it. I think for many, they do not. And as we'll find out in the book here, it could be the reason for reincarnation is that, we're going through these cycles trying to repair that which was done by supposedly Yahweh, God. I mean, follow your own conclusion on that one. So there's for myself, as I recall from the biblical point of view, I can't argue this. It's something that I came to the same conclusion 2 years ago. When I discovered, and I did a video, it's one of my very earlier videos, two creations, two separate species of being that we have been tricked into believing we're one and the same. The both the stories, and it's not true at all. Again, where would a being's head be at? Wow. All right. Following the literal wording of the first of Genesis 2 accounts of the creation of man, Braddard says that man was originally an androgynous being, neither man nor woman in the image and likeness of God, but only the androgyny. Think about this. It was right there. I had to pull out my Bible, get all my lexicons and everything out. And, did that a long time ago. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what it'd be saying. But it don't fit the narrative of modern day philosophy, religion. Yeah. I'm glad that there are thinkers like this. Batter believed that primordial androgyny would return as the world neared its end. Adam was fashioned from clay after the androgynous image of the Trinity of the gods of the Jews, Yahweh male, Shekinah female, and the Insof androgynous Godhead, and also symbolized by the androgynous son. Adam condemned the male and the female parents in the Jewish Trinity. When the Jewish people have successfully repaired the world 6,000 years after Adam was created, which is about now, then all human beings will again become androgynous beings, as it was in the beginning, so it will be in the end. Now, the guy writes here, Christian says, listen, I do not believe in these religious contexts, and he makes that disclaimer. Because quite frankly, if you do your study, the Jewish people did not exist before that of their patriarch, Abraham, of which of the Abrahamic religions covers not only Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And most people forget that Christianity was created by Jewish people. We weren't Gentiles. We took the story on. In my Bible studies, I always found it very interesting because in the book of Acts, we get the split. The Jews, which was represented by the disciples, kicked Paul, who was the son of a bitch, rich son of a bitch, didn't trust the bastard. They said, listen, that's fine. You keep your nose out of our Jewish beliefs, of Christianity and you go form your own with the Gentiles. It's all there. So, do I believe that the Jewish people are the chosen people? Hell no. But it makes for a good read. Now, it's not to say that there are those in the power realms who think they are and use humanity and its diversiveness of race and creed to form their own agenda. And we as a species fall for it all the time. It's like, when are you guys going to learn? Okay. But in this narrative, the Jewish people are apparently going to repair the world. And then, which apparently in the chronology is now. It says the androgyny agenda is therefore a significant aspect of the Jewish mission to be a light unto the nations and repair the world known as the Tikkun, and I think I'm right on this, and Tikkun Olam, which divine work necessarily sets the stage for the Jewish world to come. Now, I know that that is a fact, it's part of their beliefs and their religions. The Jewish people are the chosen people of God. That we're only in this small window in which the Gentile, which is the devil, Satan's son, us, that we've been given this. Paul described it as being grafted to the vine. Some weird shit in here. And of course, you have to go through the purification of blood. We've discussed it in this channel many, many times, but again, I like Christopher's writing. It ties it in very nicely. The Zohar, got my copy over there, written by Moses Delon in the 13th century, originated the occult system, the Kabbalah, which is driving the androgyny agenda of the Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. The Zohar explains the meaning of the occult principle as above, so below, which creates a unity between the gods and humanity, heaven and earth. Whosoever is found on earth has a spiritual counterpart on high and is dependent on it. That's what Lilith told us. When the inferior part is influenced, that which is set over it in the upper world is also affected, because all are united. That which is above is in the likeness of that which is below, and the likeness of that which is below is in the sea, regarded as the mirror of the inferior heaven, but all is one. As it is in all things below, so it is above. And I believe it goes further, isn't it, say that that which is in the inside, like the outside, vice versa? According to Kabbalah, Yahweh, actually the Elohim, meaning the gods, El, Ashar, and their son Baal, separated Adam. Now, let's stop here for a second. I want to present my case, and I think, if we can get Christopher on this, it would be interesting to discuss this. And Nina, I'd like you to join as well. It would be interesting to discuss the fact that this, to me, is a crime syndicate, like the Bidens. This is a crime syndicate. You got Yahweh, who Christians worship as they think is God. But then we know, especially in the book of Psalms, El, Asherah, and Baal, they're all related. It's a family. But these beings, they think they're gods. They think that they're above the rules, but apparently not so. There's consequences even for the gods. But you've got the one story of the cockamamie eating the apple thing. All right, we'll get back into that. But then you got the story before the apple, because you've got that story in Genesis 2:7-9, where, this whole Adama is somehow created. And these beings have the ability to separate that which we can't even hold or see, we call our soul. Mm. I wonder if it hurt. Did they put him out? It says in the second chapter of Genesis that apparently they did. I guess they used some sort of anesthesia on him, I hope. That had to hurt like, I mean, come on. How do you heal from something like that? I mean, it would be traumatic for a species to realize that this was our beginning, this painful ripping away, this tearing apart. Holy crap. Is it any wonder that we're so fucked up as a species? The clock then began to run on a countdown of 6,000 years. Now, we know that it goes well with the narrative, so we're going to continue with that. Allow me to, there we go. Thank you. 1,000 years, during which time it is hoped that the descendants of Adam and Eve will have repaired the world and merged back together into androgynous beings. So if you dissect this, it's saying that somehow we've got this super intelligence, that something is keeping us from remembering, because apparently we have the knowledge and the ability to merge ourselves back into one, the twin flame idea. Androgynous Adam had within him and her all the 600,000 twin souls of the Jews. The androgynous souls of all the Jews that had been separated into male and female half souls when Adam split into Adam and Eve. One of the androgynous twin souls resides on earth and is separated into its male aspect and its female aspect. The other androgynous twin soul lives in heaven. That's exactly what Lilith said. Aren't we glad we studied these books? I mean, how many people do you know in your circle of influence that have read the Liber Lilith? Let me know if someone actually has. That'd be interesting. Let's see. The other androgynous twin soul lives in heaven, is likewise broken into two genders. Jews, who are presently mere male and female half souls, search for their ideal soulmates to marry. In a perfect marriage, the identical half soul, which separated from the other half soul when Eve was cut away from Adam, weds into the other half from the same androgynous whole soul, so that they can reunite into a quasi-androgynous form of the male-female earthly twin soul and produce pure children. I can dissect this one because, let's continue with the story. It says Jews are reincarnated and over again during the 6 days or the 6,000 years of creation, because they are imperfect and must repair themselves bit by bit in each successive incarnation of their half souls. Now, it's really interesting. We're going to pick up back on our Hindu mysticism series, but I'm so glad to have that understanding, because it fits nicely here, because you can look at this and go, okay, that's your opinion. Mine just happens to be different. Right? Their belief in some respects mirror those of the Hinduism, Buddhism, Pythagoreanism, and Paganism. They repair themselves and the world by following the 613 commandments of the mitzvot and their Canaanite god El and Asherah, whom they have renamed Yahweh and Shekinah. Mm-mm-mm. They will continue to have children until all their half souls are repaired and become androgynous twin souls again after the 6,000 years of creation have passed. Children are needed so that all the androgynous twin souls created in Adam can be reborn as male and female half souls into new bodies through a process of reincarnation, Gilgal, and carry out the Tukamalum, repairing the world and perfecting themselves until both of their half souls are fully perfected. Y'all really need to buy the book. It's on Amazon, and I got both the Kindle and the hard copy because this is interesting. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it, but um, open enough minded to understand that I can see it. I can get that point of view because I see this same theme carried out in many other different belief systems. So it tells me that they're copying from something. Well, it would make sense, wouldn't it? I hope you're finding this interesting. It really is. And their righteous twin souls are reunited in the messianic age, the world to come. They will then enter one immortal and androgynous body, as opposed to the current imperfect state of things where man and wife suffer through life by being born, giving birth to children, and dying. That sucks. When you can take the summation of a person's life and put it down to less than 40 freaking letters, how pathetic is that? The day you're born is a day closer to your death. That sucks. Don't tell me that this is the realm of the living. Hell no. All right. I mean, you read this, and it's like I said, this is replayed out in many other religions. The separated half souls do not necessarily progress towards perfection at the same rate. I mean, this thing's loaded with, booby traps. And do not always meet to marry, which is why many marriages fail. Okay, it's one point of view. Sometimes one male half soul marries the female half soul of a different androgynous twin soul pair. I don't know about you, but at a certain point, this gets out of control. I mean, it's just out of control. This constitutes a form of prostitution and produces bad and unhappy results, often ending in divorce. You think? Okay. According to Kabbalah, when the Jewish metagod Ein Sof decided to create the universe, it first contracted itself to make way for the divine light of its being to enter the newly created Vekesha space, the Zitzum, and form the object of creation. And the Ein Sof then placed its divine light into 10 vessels, the Sephiroth, to contain it. 7 of these Sephirotic vessels tragically shattered and introduced shards of the Tuvaha, Voha, chaos and void into creation. Okay. Now, I'm a simple guy here, and I'm going, if this is what was 10 and 7 got messed, what the hell happened here? Just me, maybe. But as a scientist, one would say, you fucked up. I mean, this could not have been what the creator or who's ever conducting this experiment or whatever, that was their plan. Yeah, I'm going to create this because I'm a perfect being. Oh, crap. 7 of them broke. Fractals, Trina, isn't that the truth? The fragmented vessels covered the divine sparks of light in shells of darkness, which need to be purged from the world so that purity and light can fill the world and take the place of evil shells within the zimzum. The vacuum which arose when the Insoft contracted itself. This process of removing evil and revealing divine sparks of light, ridding the world of the shells of darkness to leave room for the light, is called the Tikkun Olam, which term means the restoration of the world by the descendants of Adam and Eve, who are composed of the divine light, which the Jews think they are the only ones. I mean, if we were in class, right, in a science class, you know what the teacher would say. Whatever they were wanting to do here didn't work. And apparently now they don't want to take responsibility for their screw up. No, it's easier to say it's those lesser guys' fault. But then somehow we're supposed to come in here and clean up the room after they trashed it. I'm smelling a double cross. Don't know about you, but I smell a double cross. Gentiles, raise your hand, are shells of darkness which conceal the light and clutter the zimzum with their evil presence. Well, excuse me. Who the hell do you think you are? In order for the vacuum to be filled with the good of light and only with divine light. So you may have light, but hey, I'm sorry, man, that ain't the right light. Gentiles must cease to exist. What? Your mama? Because they are not only evil darkness incarnate, but are shells of conceal and displace the holy light. Darkness may give way to light in Gentiles who are called the sons of darkness, must give way to the Jews who are styled the sons of light, so that the universe can be restored to its original perfect state of purity and order in the world to come. And human beings and gods must return to their perfect androgynous state. Gentiles are not only sons of darkness, meaning that Satan created them by sleeping with Eve to bear. What? Well, that dirty dog. Guess technically we could say that Satan screwed us both, huh? Adam and Eve. But anyway, so Satan created them by sleeping with Eve, coitus, to bear Cain. They are also daughters of the strange god Satan. Malachi 2:10 and 12 states, have we not all one Father? Hath not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother by profaning the covenant of our fathers? Judah hath dealt treacherously, and an abomination is committed in Israel and in Jerusalem. For Judah hath profaned the holiness of the Lord which he loved, and hath married the daughter of a strange god. The Lord would cut off the man that does this, the master and the scholar, out of the tabernacles of Jacob, and him that offereth an offering unto the Lord of hosts. Well, this is just fine. Hmm. Seems like everybody screws up on this. The restoration of the world must be completed within the allotted 6,000 years by human beings, or Yahweh and Shekinah will do it themselves with disastrous consequences for humanity. It feels like a threat. Hmm. The process is a cycle where the end matches the beginning in form and function. Okay. What was the beginning again? Yahweh and Shekinah started off as one androgynous being and must be restored to one androgynous being. They separated when Adam mistakenly thought that the goddess Shekinah was the only God. Shekinah left Yahweh when the first temple of Solomon was destroyed, and she then accompanied the Jews into exile. The separation of Yahweh and Shekinah caused much suffering in the world. The temple must be rebuilt in order for Shekinah to return to Yahweh and for them to once again become one androgynous being in the world to come. Just as the gods must again bond into an androgynous being, so too must human beings become androgynes in order for the end of the cycle to match the beginning and the world to come to arrive. Now, this is where you get the comment. So let me get this right. These are so-called perfect beings, and yet somehow these perfect beings screwed up, which begs the question, what the hell does perfect mean then? But let's just continue this. So their solution is to somehow put a time limit on their mistake, that the victims of the mistake are supposed to somehow correct their mistake. And when this mistake, that is the mistake, corrects the mistake, somehow everything's going to be all right again. Which then begs the question, well, if they fucked up the first time, there's almost a certain guarantee they're going to fuck up again. I mean, seriously. Huh. I don't know about you, but this whole restoring the world thing really, maybe it's just me, but it sounds like a bad plan. It just sounds messy. It sounds like no one really thought this thing out properly. And it's being executed and implemented by amateurs, or so it would seem. But then, of course, they would say, well, you're just a mere mortal. No, if I have any part of this, then I am truly immortal. I'm experiencing something that you gods can't. Or maybe you gods are the ones that are mortal. Because I exist in the death realm. You don't. Just saying. Let's see, from Herman Hesse's character Steppenwolf in the Sanhedra to David Bowie's persona in the movie The Matrix, androgyny is increasingly entering pop culture as we approach the end of the age of Pisces and the 6,000 years, the 6 days of creation expire. I think it already expired, but I don't know. I'm not got the clock. This is in large part by design and is being deliberately orchestrated by the Kabbalists. I mean, do these guys, they have what? Do they have some kind of you know, elixir that, they don't die? I mean, are you telling me that there's generations of Kabbalists? Don't the youth ever revolt? Give them rock and roll. Anyway, which is orchestrated by the Kabbalists who are entering the Takamolim, restoring the world to a perfect androgynous state. I get the Borg every time I think about this. Resistance is futile. Your essence will become part of the collective so that it will be the same at the end of time as it was when time began. Okay, maybe that's why we don't remember our beginnings. The ultimate aim of the Tikkun Kulam is to Tikkun Ha-Shanana, which means restoring the gods Yahweh and Shekinah to their original androgynous union above in heaven by reforming human beings into the original androgynous state of Adam before Eve was separated out from the androgyne Adam below here on earth. Fixing humanity repairs the gods as above, so below. Well, I could extract from that and say very easily, if we're so screwed up down here, they must really be screwed up there. Wow, where did the time go? The occult Egyptian principle as above, so below means that the lives and actions of the gods are reciprocally mirrored by the lives and actions of human beings. Then by that statement alone, it must be a freak show up there. It also means, or down there, or wherever the hair is, it also means that the lives and actions of human beings affected the actions and lives of the gods. Well, this is a real scary scenario. Furthermore, the doctrine articulates the belief that human beings were created as mirror images of the gods, and the earth as a mirror image of the heavens. The symmetry between the gods and humanity, the heavens and the earth, is understood as giving human beings the power to mold the gods in their image, holy crap, and repair the damage human beings have previously done to the gods through their human misconduct by means of the restorative work of the Tikkun Olam. Now, I didn't read in any of this where us humans did this to ourselves. Seems like we got totally screwed. And then somehow or another, we're sitting on the Group W bench and you're trying to tell us that, what? This is all our fault? I don't think so. All right, we'll pull it off there. We'll pick up there tomorrow. I don't know. And get ready, because when we get into the section of the sons of Satan, holy crap, Batman. Holy crap. It's like, you go, what? You have to admit, this is a cool. I'd love to see them make a movie of this. Because, apparently we're just the bad guys in all of this. Apparently we were perfectly fine. We were drinking our tea. We had the pipe going around, we lived in harmony. And then they came in. Wait a minute. I don't know about you, but that just pisses me off. It totally pisses me off. They screw up, and it's somehow our fault. I'm reading some of the comments. It just pisses me off. I just got to tell you. Because we got totally hosed in this. Totally hosed. And if this is the end, the end of the cycle, well, I call bullshit. Because Maybe I don't want this to be the end of the cycle. Maybe we, so-called defective Adam and Eves, just say, up yours. No, no, we don't think this is the end yet. We're going to bring you back to the table, and we're going to hash out a bargaining agreement here because we got totally screwed in the first part of this. Fun stuff, isn't it? We got to get the author on. Buy his book. I mean, that's the best way to do this. Put a few shekels in his pocket. Uh, you know, he took the time to put it all together. The research is impeccable, I can tell you. And I just you'll enjoy it. It's a good book to have. He's got another one out. I bought that one, and because this whole Jesus story, seems like we got hosed on that one too. Yeah. And you know what? I mean, this ain't even feeling good. All right. So that's all I got to say for the day. Thank you for tuning in. But let me know. I mean, what was it in broadcast news? I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. I mean, this is bullshit. I want to get these gods all together in a room. And the first thing I'd like to ask them is, what the hell were you guys thinking? You really thought that this was going to turn out good? Really? You're the ones that have got this omnipotent knowledge and what? I don't think so. Miriam, you're right back at you. All right, everybody. Much love to you. Tell me, have you had enough? I mean, does it totally feel like you're being hosed, like our whole species? And then somehow that we look at the world today, is it any wonder? Jackie, thank you, darling. Saturninian Sun says, be of good cheer. That's exactly. Susan, right back at you. All right, folks, until we meet tomorrow, I'll try to tone it down. No, it's just only going to continue because the more you get into this, I'm going to have to get a t-shirt that says they hosed us. That's what happened. They hosed us. All right, folks, until we meet again, keep smiling. Let that